Hello, my name is Jose. Here I am again with my 2017 Mercedes S550 or W222. Today we're going to be replacing the auxiliary battery or additional battery. It's located in the trunk of the car. And here we go. Here are some tools that we're going to be using. This is the auxiliary battery. This is the original battery. I was able to find it online at a better price. We have a magnet just in case our bolts fall. This tool we'll be using to remove some of the molding. It's a plastic tool. It's better to use this instead of screwdrivers. Any metal will damage the plastic, and also to remove rivets. Some of these rivets, these are also plastic. These pins that go into the car. It's good to have an extra box like this, just in case some of yours break while removing it. We're gonna need a ratchet with a 10 millimeter, a torque tool. Very important torque tool, especially when you're going to work on these terminals. Very delicate, very sensitive. We need Torx 20 to be able to remove some panels. And if you want, you can use this any of the power tools. You could also use the ratchet, and that's it. Let's go. So the auxiliary battery is located on this side of the car, on the right side, behind this panel. There's a fuse box here, is right next to it. You'll be able to see it when you pull these out. Here's the fuse box. Next to it is the battery. Of course, you have to remove the panel. To be able to remove this panel, we're going to remove this trunk lid. Also, this other cover that is covering the main battery. We have to remove this piece of trim. That's what we're going to use the plastic tool for. We also have to remove some of these clips or pins that are located in a couple of places there. A couple of them here. So, let's go. We're going to use our 220 to remove these screws here, here, and here. Make sure you put these in a safe place. Don't lose them. Let's take these out of here. Here's where our plastic tool comes in. Here's the one clip. Here's another clip. First you pop them up. You're going to pop them up like this, right in the middle, and then the whole thing comes up. Popping the whole thing out. Now we're getting these out of the way. Now we're going to remove the trim on the edge of the trunk and the two pins that I was talking about. And I move my camera, and I'm going to keep moving my camera around so you can have a better view. So I move it so you can see how I remove these pins and then remove this lid, this piece of trim. Same thing as the other ones in the back. As you pop up the middle piece, then you pop up the whole thing. Same thing here. It's better to use a plastic tool. Don't use, well, if you don't have a plastic tool, then use a screwdriver, but the metal will damage the plastic a little bit, okay? So here we are in a different spot. You can see how I remove this trim. Stick this in here, just pop it up. Don't be afraid, nothing will break. That's it, it's out. Put this away. Now we're ready to remove this panel. To be able to do that, we have a pin here, one of those clips, another one here, one a little further back. We have the light that we have to disconnect the power to. We have a 12-volt charger connector that we have to disconnect power to. Then we have to pull the panel. There are some clips holding this in the back. We also have to take these out of the way to be able to pull this panel out. This extra basket that some of us have. It goes down. This is a basket for groceries, for bags, for small shopping, so it doesn't go around in the trunk when you're driving. Very simple to remove. It has two handles in front. You just twist them, go down and pull it. Okay. So these are the handles. You just move them, twist them out, twist them, and then there's a pin in the back that goes into the back. There's a couple of holes up there. You just put them in there. There you go. Now we can remove the pins. Once the pins are removed, we can just pull the panel out. It has 3 clips here. Be careful, but don't be afraid. It's going to make a little noise, but okay, snapping noise. It'll be okay. Have to be careful with the connector here. We just have to unplug. I'll have to relocate my camera to do that, but when you pull it out, just be careful. Push these up, push these down, and you'll be able to slide these out without removing the back panel. You don't have to remove it. Here's where the connector is for the 12 volt. So we just stick our hand in there and pull it towards the front. There we go. And move these to the side. Now that we've removed the power to the charger, we're going to remove the power to the light, and it's right up here. It's a little clip. Push it down and pull the light out. Very simple. And we can put the whole panel away from us. Just push it out. Push it out of the way. Here we go. Now we have full access to our battery. Now that we're here, to be able to remove the auxiliary battery, which is located right here, it's in this box, we have to loosen the fuse box. And it has 3 nuts. 2 on top, these 2, and there's 1 right underneath. So we're going to remove the nuts, and I'm going to be using my power tool. And I have a little tip here. I put a little bit of paper inside my sockets so I don't lose my nuts. Okay, right at the edge. There you go. There's 1. You can also use a magnet like this one, especially if you need to find it. And then take out the one on the bottom. Now that the bolts are out, to be able to pull the battery, we have to pull this clip, these electrical connectors, all this wiring is connected to this clip. We have to pull that out to be able to pull the battery out. We'll have to push this clip up, and then we'll be able to pull the battery out. The nut on the bottom is under the battery casing. That's why we have to remove that. And then we have to take the cover off. It has 2 clips on the side, right over here, 1 here, 1 in the back. You'll have a better access to it once you put the battery out. So let's see. Pull the clip up, and the battery slides right out. Okay, so let's move this connector. Very easy to remove. Just this clip out and pull it. Okay. push this cover. The clips are on the casings holding the top. So once you swing these out, you're able to pull it out. Now to pull the battery out completely, you have to be careful. You have to pull this clip again to clear this aluminum piece on the bottom, which I think belongs to the heater for the windshield, if I'm not mistaken. You have to pull this clip up and clear that. And now the full battery's out. So now we're ready to remove the terminals of the battery. But you gotta be careful because the main battery is still connected to the car, is powering the car. So if you see my video on how I change the main battery, you'll see that I like to wrap the terminals in a piece of cloth when I take them out so it doesn't touch any metal. And I do it for both. I don't want to touch anything with any of my terminals. So I'm ready with these rags so I can wrap it around. I'll loosen these battery terminals. There it goes. It's all wrapped. It's on the side. Now the negative side. Now what we also want to watch out for when you're doing especially the positive side is that your tool doesn't touch any metals, doesn't ground. You gotta make sure that that tool doesn't touch the metal when you're taking the terminal out or when you're putting it back in. So we wrap it and push it aside and we're ready to move the battery out. Now to make it easier, we're gonna pull the whole casing out of it. And I'm also gonna show you where the battery slides. So the casing has these guides on the bottom. So you can slide it in there and then this clip holds it in place once it's slide in. When you're getting ready to put your battery in, make sure you have the right one, same part. But it's better to go by the manufacturer specs because somebody might have put the wrong battery in there, especially if you buy a used car. And when you're sliding this in, it's a good idea to keep this terminal covered just in case anything wants to ground. We'll put it into position. We're going to slide it in. And we start getting ready to connect the positive side. Ready with a ratchet. Now remember these bolts have torque specs. So we're just going to put it in place for now. And then we'll get a torque tool and we torque it up to specs. One side's in. All right, we don't tighten that. We do that with the torque wrench. So we're ready to torque the terminals. The torque for this is 53 inch-pounds. Okay, inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, or 6 Newton meters. So here we go. Our ratchet will let us know when it's done by a click. There we go. That's done. So this one is ready. Now we can pull our cover away. Ready to put that plastic cover on top. Make sure it clicks. Make sure everything is out of the way. No wires are in the middle. And then we push this all the way in again. Now to push the battery all the way in, you have to be careful with this fuse box. It has to be out of the way. So now you push it all the way in. Battery is in place. Now we set these in place. Fuse box is in place. Now we put this back. And we gotta put our bolts back. That's it. Just reverse operation. Put everything back. Our paper trick is very useful when you're putting things back, especially in that one in the bottom because it's a little further in. Sometimes your hands don't fit in there. So you put your paper in there and the nut won't fall. Okay, so we're going to put that nut in. First go by hand. You should always put nuts by hand first. Don't use tools when you're putting them on. And we'll do this on top. Don't make it super tight, just go until it's in. Make sure they're tight. And we're done. That's it. We replaced the battery. We just have to put our panels back. And we are ready to put the covers back. Just the last piece. Don't forget to put your vent on. And the vent is in place. We connect our lights. Lights back on. Push these back in place. We put our 12-volt connector on. And just push everything back in place. Put it back on the clips. Now we make sure all our clips go back. Remember, there's two on top, one in the back. Then we'll put our trim back, and we have two more. Now, why did I change my battery? If the car didn't ask me for it, because the car will ask you for the auxiliary battery. The car will show you on the dash that it needs a new auxiliary battery. Okay, we're just snapping this in place. Well, I changed it because my car is over 5 years old, just about, and I want to do all the maintenance I can since I just got this car. My stop and start wasn't working, but changing the main battery fixed my problem. So it's not always the auxiliary battery an issue when your stop and start doesn't work. Put this back. But yeah, the car will ask you to change the auxiliary battery. It will tell you on the dash something's wrong with your auxiliary battery. Got one more lid. These only go in one direction, so there's no way to mess these up. We'll put those two in, turn this one in. This last cover. And now we have to put our tray back. And for our tray, we have to put these two pins in the back, these two, into the holes in the back. You'll see them, you can't miss them. There are only two back holes there, so you twist the sides and it's locked in place. So as I like to do with every repair I make to my cars, I went out for a test drive. I've been driving for like 10-15 minutes and everything's fine, no electrical problems. I've been also driving for like 2 weeks with my Odyssey battery. If you noticed, I have a different type of battery in the back. The main battery is an Odyssey battery. It's not a Mercedes battery, and it's totally okay to use a different battery. There's some people that think that you have to use a Mercedes-Benz battery or you will have electrical problems in your car, and it's not true. I've been driving, like I said, for like 2 weeks, and everything works fine. Nothing telling me to put the right battery, the correct battery, or a Mercedes battery in it. Um, Everything's working correctly. Auto stop and start. That wasn't working for me before I changed the main battery. So changing the main battery corrected. You don't always have to change the auxiliary battery to correct that problem. Sometimes it's the main battery. But you just have to go with what you think. I thought it was the main battery because for the auxiliary battery, the car will tell you that you need an auxiliary battery, that you're having a problem with the auxiliary battery. That's when you replace that. But I changed both my batteries. I'm going to continue doing some maintenance on my car. I just got this car not long ago, so I want to make sure everything is working fine. I don't know if the person before me um, did all the maintenance required for the car, so I'm going to make sure everything is done, and we'll see you on the next video.